Let's get some time acceleration underway. There's the 250 mark. We'll wait till sunrise, then we will do the science. Bam! I don't know, some images from this game are just gorgeous. That's one of them. I can see what we're all doing. There we go. Just gonna let the SAS system do its job. Temperature scan in space high over Kerbal. Measuring the temperature of space appears to be quite impossible, as there's no matter around us to be either hot or cold, except the spacecraft and the thermometer itself. This is probably going to give the R&D guys something to think about for a while. Yeah, that would make measuring temperature difficult. Yeah, no kidding, we're in a vacuum. Thank you very much. Crew report. Crew report coming in from space! Anyway. Keep experiment. Observe the mystery goo. At home here. Okay. Now, engineer's job is to predict the future. I'm predicting we may get stuck in space. That could be a problem. So what we're going to do is I just need to burn this thing hard enough that I can get that down to where we're going to skid the top of the atmosphere. And if I can do that, we'll start getting even a tiny bit of aerodrag. And a little tiny bit of aerodrag means eventually this ship will come back down. Now luckily, Kerbal Space Program does not model life support at all. So we can take full advantage of that. If it takes 100 orbits to bring her back in, it takes 100 orbits to bring her back in. That's not a big deal. I have all day. Well, I don't actually have all day. I have other things I'm supposed to be streaming later, but for now I have all day. I had in time warp for a little while. Go. We are now going to burn this engine as hard as possible. So that's enough to get us into aero brake range. Let's see, can we get us onto the surface? It's not quite the surface. But I also don't necessarily want to do that from up here, because otherwise our re-entry velocity is going to be insane. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. Just burn the engine until I stop. Okay, I had a lot more delta V left in these engines than I thought I did. Well, this is now a splashdown, definitively. That's gonna make this entertaining. Well, let's go ahead and just time accelerate for a little while, and we'll deal with the re-entry approach when we get there. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Let's go ahead and stabilize. Turn off the SAS systems. Enable them for a second. Yeah, we're going to be coming in at like a 30-degree angle. That's suboptimal, but we're going to go ahead and jettison that engine now. And that little bit of push-off will deaccelerate us a little bit, because every force has an equal and opposite reaction. We're going to use that a lot. And that little bit of deacceleration is the only real hope we hit of, you know, making this a little less fiery. Okay, let's go ahead and time warp in a little bit more. Alright, so we're about to hit the upper atmosphere, and I'm just going to let this thing fly at this point, because, yes, in theory, we are probably going to get a plasma blackout soon, but I don't see any reason to try and play the adjust game. She's having fun. Just look at that. Look at how much fun. Whoop. Internal view. That was not what I was looking for. Oh, there it is. See? See, look at how much fun she's having. Look at all the fun. Okay. Did I do an EVA at the top of the arc? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. If worse comes to worse, we'll do another one. We are re-entering at an obscenely high velocity. That little bit you saw fly by was our drive core. Luckily, it seems as though the heat shield burned off a little bit of its ablator, but otherwise, it seems to all still be intact. Throwing out the radial chute, the drogue. Throwing out the main. Okay, the chutes are out. So in theory, we should be okay. I mean, this was definitely a little bit more sketchy of an approach. I'm not gonna deny that, but it seems like we're good so far. At 5 kilometers, the drogue should completely open, and then I thought it was 500. It might be It might be 2,500 meters, and the big chute's 500 meters. So we're just on the nice cruising descent at this point. Shouldn't really have any issues. Yeah, there goes the drogues. That'll slow us down to about 50. Okay, let's look up and see if we can't spot the rest of that debris coming in. It probably all burned up by now. Oh no, there it goes. There is still some. Can you see it? I can't really see it, and I have the full resolution. I know because when I'm streaming it runs a little bit under. Because bandwidth is a thing. Alright, going ahead and cutting that parachute. Ocean. Lots of it. Just goes on. So, alright, let's go ahead and time accelerate down to the water a little bit. See, this was only a 40-minute flight if we didn't do any time acceleration, which is why we do time acceleration. Because otherwise this flight would have lasted almost as long as my stream has. And that's not as much fun. Like, just sitting and cruising, I mean, it would be fun eventually when I get big and have like 100 viewers at any given time and y'all are chatting away. Up until that point, yeah. Alright, recover vessel. Okay. We did not EVA. Darn. She got some levels though. It's also now the middle of the night. Which means we can get electronics. Yay. Okay, so why that's a yay is now I can have the... Let's see, is there another... Oh, there's actually this. So we're not going to necessarily use the stay putniks. Because although they're kind of cool looking, I think they're kind of mediocre, and they give me very little options. Whereas these guys, the next stage up, well, let's actually go ahead and read these because I think they're entertaining. The Stay Putnik offers the ultimate solution: increased safety. A lightweight sphere equipped with remote receivers and relay control inputs from the ground to the craft. It carries no crew at all, thus keeping them perfectly safe from all harm. This device does require electricity to operate, however, and will cease to function if the power runs out. The built-in batteries are designed to keep it going for about 10 minutes. It's not bad. They've got the... I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. The OKTO. The OK2 is the next step in unmanned control technology. This small unit can not only receive and relay control, it also provides automatic stabilization assistance, just as a live pilot would. Also, its 8-sided stylistic design features a lot of flat surfaces for attaching equipment. That it does. That it definitely does. Another nice thing is we now have thermal control systems, which don't sound critical right now, but thermal in space is probably the biggest enemy. Okay, so now we're going to start looking at being in space semi-permanently. So what that means is we're going to definitely want to look at getting some of the bigger engines and such, obviously, but getting this is going to let us get to the moon, for example. Which is this engine is the lunar, is now possible engine. However, I go ahead and so we're now going to design an unmanned communications satellite that's going to work as our short-range relays. So basically the ones that sit around Kerbin and keep everything from, like, not being able to talk to each other. It's literally just going to be a stack of batteries, basically. So then going to have 4 of these high-gain antennas on them, something like this, so that when they extend it looks like that. And then come in here, we're going to grab the solar panels. This is an 8-sided thing, so we're going to go ahead and stick that like that. I'm going to stick one on the top in the center-ish. But if we're pointing at something, we're also getting solar power. And there we have our basic communication satellite. Or really, it's going to be a basic relay. So, what? Oh, okay. So we have a basic relay. Great. Wonderful. Jazzy. Now we need to get it places. Let's go ahead and get that same orbital operation stage we had before. We're going to use the swivel engine this time, because it gives a little bit less power, but it gives a little bit higher ISP in vacuum, which is where it's going to be predominantly operating. But it's not as good at taking off. However, this, I believe, is probably lighter, so we're going to go ahead and use the same launch platform. Except, I'm trying to think, do we want to thrust limit the main solids? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking this is a perfectly viable short-range communications relay. The short-range communications relay. Okay. That's what this is. We're probably going to be launching like 40 of these things eventually, so that process begins in earnest. Stretch. Oh, it's the middle of the night. That's going to make this so much more aggravating. Okay. Go ahead and look at the probe. First things first, we're renaming this one. So this is the but this is alpha. Alpha. So the reason why I'm calling it alpha is because then we can differentiate which ones are which very, very quickly. So this one's going to be on a nice, like, equatorial orbit. Should work out fine. Oh, I forgot to switch this. That's fine. You can do that on the launch pad. Now we don't have to worry about G-forces here because we have no crew. Let's go ahead and light these engines up. I forgot a step. Forgot the SAS systems. Well, crap. Boom. Bad. Need to go through the checklist. No point in reverting. Didn't lose anybody. Alright, let's try that again. Alright, this time we're going through the checklists. Roger tanking. Here we are. Go. Rename vessels. So PR. Go. Flight surgeon. Good, he didn't say anything. That means there's nobody on board. Always a plus. GNU and flight control. Go. Main thruster. Ready. Fuel. Check. Power. Check. Solar arrays. Yeah, somebody put them there. Okay, I think we're good. Alright. 3, 2, 1, launch. It is still cranking off to the side really hard. Okay, you know what? That was impressive. Go, little rocket, be free! Go, be free! It's gonna die. That didn't work. Okay, so there's got to be something innately wrong with the spacecraft. Okay, yes. Back to the Space Center. Ugh. Oops. Okay, so that didn't go so great. I'd love to put an arrow shell on this, but I don't think I can do that very easily. Unless I go ahead and I do something like, where are your aerodynamics? There. So that adds basically a nose cone, which I want on a separate release. Shift those. Okay, so this is innately unstable. Oops. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it more oomph. My first instinct when something doesn't fly straight is you're not pushing it hard enough. Now I know that's probably not necessarily true in all instances, but first we're going to push it harder, and second we're going to put winglets on the outer frame. So what this does is it's going to give us some nice flight stabilization and such. I think the diameter change will add more drag than you say from the nose cone. Well, let's look. Well, then it comes into the very interesting question of, does the game render the undertows? Because if it renders the fact that the air flows along here, and then in actuality what it would do right here is it would suck in. If it renders that, then yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay, well in that case, screw that then. Thank you, good catch. I honestly don't know how accurate the simulation was. I was kind of hoping that it would just be like, oh, okay, so it gets out to this diameter and then it just renders downward. Kind of like a cheater's cargo bay, if you will. Thank you, good catch. Alright. Yeah, that'll work. Let's give it a shot. Oh, hang on. Engines work with me. Technically, yes, but yes, but I'm also going for an aesthetic once we get into space itself. Then I honestly don't know how much that would help at this point. You're just adding extra mass. But I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to try it. Worst comes to worst, it explodes. We lose nothing. Also, thank you for interacting. Like, holy crap. I get people who watch all the time and just never say anything, and it's like,